Imagine a world where motivation comes as naturally as breathing. Now imagine a world where every task feels like climbing Mount Everest. Welcome to the roller coaster of dopamine and ADHD. As we delve into the depths of our brain's chemistry, we'll uncover the intriguing connection between motivation, dopamine, and ADHD. We'll tease out the science behind why it's so hard to get motivated and how you can navigate this often challenging landscape. Dive with us into the fascinating world of neurotransmitters and brain chemistry. Did you know that motivation isn't just about willpower? It's actually a complex dance of neurochemistry. Let's take a closer look at this intricate ballet. At the center stage is the star performer, dopamine. This neurotransmitter, a type of chemical messenger in the brain, plays a crucial role in how we perceive and pursue rewards. It's like the director behind the scenes, orchestrating our motivation levels. In a study conducted by the University of Connecticut, researchers found that when a person anticipates a reward, there's a surge of dopamine in their brain. This surge is what propels us into action, like a puppet master pulling the strings. It's why we feel that rush of energy when we're about to reach a goal, whether it's finishing a marathon or just the last slice of pizza. But the plot thickens. Dopamine isn't just about the thrill of the chase. It's also about the satisfaction of the catch. Another study, this one from the University of Michigan, revealed that dopamine is released not only when we anticipate a reward, but also when we receive it. It's like getting a double dose of motivation, one to get you moving and another to keep you coming back for more. And here's the cliffhanger. Dopamine doesn't always play fair. Sometimes it stage manages a performance where motivation is hard to find. This happens when dopamine levels are out of balance. Too little, and we might struggle to get off the couch. Too much, and we might feel overwhelmed and unfocused. It's a delicate balancing act, and every brain has its unique choreography. This is where the science of genetics comes in. Our genes can influence how much dopamine we produce and how our brains respond to it. So if motivation feels like a constant uphill battle, it might not be a lack of willpower. It might be your dopamine levels dancing to a different tune. So next time you think you're just lazy, remember it might be your dopamine levels playing tricks on you. But what happens when this dopamine dance goes off beat? Enter ADHD. Attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder, or as we commonly know it, ADHD, plays a rather jazzy rhythm in the dopamine symphony. It's like your brain's conductor suddenly decided to jazz up Beethoven's Fifth, and while some may find it exciting, it certainly can throw off the orchestra's harmony. ADHD is characterized by inattention, hyperactivity, impulsivity, or a combination of all three. Now you might be thinking, isn't that just like any other Tuesday? But there's more to it than meets the eye. You see, individuals with ADHD often struggle with dopamine regulation. According to a study published in the Journal of Neurotransmission, people with ADHD tend to have lower levels of dopamine in their brain. This deficit makes it harder for them to feel rewarded or motivated. It's like trying to dance to a song, but the rhythm just isn't right. You can still move, but it's not quite the same. Another interesting point to note is that dopamine isn't just about feeling good, it's also about maintaining focus. A study from the National Institute of Mental Health found that dopamine plays a significant role in our ability to maintain attention on tasks. So when dopamine levels are out of whack, as they often are in individuals with ADHD, maintaining focus can be like trying to catch a slippery eel. Looking at it from this perspective, ADHD isn't about laziness or lack of willpower. It's about the brain's struggle to achieve that dopamine high, that sense of reward and satisfaction that comes from completing a task. It's like being at a party where everyone else is enjoying the music, but your favorite song just won't play. So next time you find yourself struggling to understand why someone with ADHD acts the way they do, remember this. It's not about not being able to focus or pay attention. It's about the brain's constant craving for that dopamine high, that sense of reward that keeps us all moving forward. ADHD isn't about not being able to focus. It's about your brain craving that dopamine high. Imagine being locked in a room with 100 televisions all on different channels. That's what motivation feels like with ADHD. Now let's delve into why motivation can be such a challenge for those with ADHD. Scientific study number 4, conducted by the esteemed University of Cambridge, provides some insightful answers. According to their research, individuals with ADHD have an imbalance in their dopamine system. This neurotransmitter, dopamine, is crucial for maintaining focus and motivation. So when there's an imbalance, it's like your internal motivational speaker has lost its microphone. You see, for most people, the brain naturally releases dopamine in response to achieving goals or completing tasks. It's like a little reward system that keeps us going. But in the ADHD brain, this dopamine response is often delayed or diminished. It's like trying to run a race with no finish line in sight. But it's not just about the dopamine. The ADHD brain also struggles with executive functioning. This means it's harder for them to plan, prioritize, and control impulses. Imagine trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle without being able to see the big picture. That's a bit what it feels like. And then there's the issue of hyperfocus. Yes, it's true, people with ADHD can actually become intensely focused on tasks that they find particularly interesting or enjoyable. But this isn't a superpower, it's more like a trap. Because while they're hyper-focused on one task, they're neglecting everything else. It's like being engrossed in an amazing book while your house is on fire. Now, this might sound like a pretty bleak picture, but it's not. It's simply a different way of experiencing the world. And there's plenty of ways to turn these challenges into strengths. Remember, as the Bible says, strength is perfected in weakness. So does motivation with ADHD feel like being locked in a room with 100 televisions all on different channels? Absolutely. But there's hope. The key? Understanding your brain and using it to your advantage. So how do you conquer the Everest of motivation when your climbing gear is on the fritz? Well, don't worry, we've got some scientifically backed techniques that will help you reach the summit. Firstly, let's talk about breaking tasks down. The enormity of a task can be daunting, like looking up a sheer cliff face. But if we break it down into smaller, manageable chunks, it becomes a series of gentle slopes. A study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that people who break their goals into smaller, incremental goals are 40% more likely to achieve them. That's right, 40%. So let the power of small wins help you ascend towards your goals. Next, let's dive into the world of positive reinforcement. It's easy to focus on what we haven't achieved, but let's flip that on its head. Celebrate what you have achieved. Reward yourself for each milestone you reach. This encourages the release of dopamine, the neurotransmitter we discussed earlier. The more dopamine, the more motivation. It's like a pat on the back from your brain. Speaking of dopamine, did you know that physical activity can also boost its production? And it's not just about running marathons. Even a brisk walk around the block or a quick yoga session can do the trick. You're not just moving your body, you're shaking up your brain too. It's like giving your motivation engine a good oiling. Now, onto the power of visualization. There's a reason athletes visualize winning before a big game. It's because it works. By visualizing your success, you're priming your brain to achieve it. Think of it as a dress rehearsal for your brain. You're letting it know what's coming and how awesome it's going to feel when you get there. And let's not forget the importance of a positive mindset. Here's where a little biblical wisdom comes in handy. As Proverbs 17:22 says, "A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones." It's important to keep our spirits high and our hearts cheerful. Remember, your mindset can be the difference between seeing a challenge or an insurmountable obstacle. Lastly, don't underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. Research has shown that sleep deprivation can significantly dampen motivation. It's like trying to climb a mountain with a heavy backpack. So make sure you're getting enough Z's. Your brain will thank you for it. Now, I'm not saying these techniques are a magic bullet. We all have our good days and not so good days, but by incorporating these strategies into your daily routine, you're equipping yourself with the tools to tackle that mountain. And remember, it's not about working harder, but smarter. You're not in a race against anyone else. You're simply on a journey to become the best version of yourself. So take it one step at a time. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small. And remember, every step you take is a step closer to the summit. So whether you're facing the Everest of a work project or the Kilimanjaro of cleaning out the garage, remember these techniques. Break it down, reward yourself, get moving, visualize success, keep a positive mindset, and rest well. Remember, it's not about working harder, but smarter. Now let me share a personal story. Once upon a time in the small town of Magnolia lived a young girl named Lily. Like the beautiful flower she was named after, she was full of life and color. But there was something different about Lily. She had ADHD. Lily often found it difficult to focus on tasks. The world around her was like a fast-paced movie, filled with flashing lights and loud noises. It was hard for her to keep up. She struggled with motivation, not because she was lazy, but because her brain worked a little differently. One day, Lily stumbled upon a fascinating book about the brain and motivation. She learned about dopamine, the very thing that her brain struggled to produce in the right amounts. The book explained how dopamine was like the fuel that powered motivation. Inspired by what she read, Lily started to try different techniques to boost her motivation. She began with small tasks and slowly worked her way up. She learned to use her love for art to channel her energy and focus. Over time, Lily saw progress. It wasn't an easy journey, and there were many moments when she felt like giving up, but she kept going, driven by her newfound understanding of her brain and her determination to overcome her challenges. She became a successful artist, using her unique perspective to create vibrant and captivating artworks. Lily's story is a testament to the power of understanding, perseverance, and self-belief. You've made it to the end, so here's a bonus. Let's consider a technique known as the Pomodoro method, a unique time management strategy invented by Francesco Cirillo in the 1980s. It's a simple yet effective way to increase productivity and motivation. Here's how it works. You break your work into 25-minute intervals, separated by 5-minute breaks. These intervals are known as pomodoros, the Italian word for tomatoes, a nod to the tomato-shaped kitchen timer Cirillo used as a university student. This method helps you stay focused and motivated, and it's especially beneficial for those with ADHD, as it provides structure and routine, two elements that can significantly improve focus. So there you have it, your bonus tip. Give the Pomodoro method a try and see the difference it makes. Remember, your brain is your greatest asset. Use it well, and remember to like, subscribe, and comment. As we wrap up, keep this in mind. There's a beautiful saying by Thomas Edison that goes, "Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time." It reminds us that no matter how steep the hill in front of us might seem, the key to reaching the top lies in relentless pursuit and unwavering motivation. Until next time, keep climbing your Everest.